Hey everyone, today we're going to discuss about the person-product movement correlation coefficient. In our previous lesson, we've learned about the correlation analysis and we've learned there that we can measure the correlation either by strength or by direction. And alam din natin na when we talk about the direction of the correlation, it could be positive, negative, or zero. Now, in this lesson naman, we'll be discussing about the strength of relationship and we'll be able to determine how do we measure the strength of relationship between two variables. So we make use of what we call the correlation coefficient R. This is the number which describes the strength and direction of relationship between two variables. Take note, ginagamit natin ng person-product movement correlation coefficient or Pearson R in short kapag ang data natin ay scaled data. So, ibig sabihin, numerical yung data natin. So, continuous data, scaled data, pwede si person R. For we can have correlation for other kinds of data, but that will be discussed in another lesson pa. Okay? Now, the values of the correlation coefficient range from -1 to +1. Okay? And how do we interpret the value? We make use of this table here. If the value of R is 1, it means +1 or -1, perfect correlation. Bakit positive negative? Kasi yung positive negative na yan, it indicates the direction. +1, it's a perfect positive correlation. -1, perfect negative correlation. Pag 0.81 to 0.99, very high correlation. Ganon din kapag sign, pag halimbawa, -0.81 yan, it's a very high negative correlation. Kapag +99 yan, very high positive correlation. 0.61 to 0.80, high correlation. 0.41 to 0.60, moderately high correlation. 0.21 to 0.40, low correlation. 0.01 to 0.20, negligible correlation, and 0, there is no correlation at all. Okay, so the formula can be quite lengthy in computing for the person-product movement correlation coefficient R. So the formula is like this. R is equal to N, which is the sample size, times the summation of xy minus the summation of x times the summation of y divided by the square root of the expressions n times the summation of x squared minus the square of summation of x times n times the summation of y squared minus the square of the summation of y. It could be lengthy. So we really need to make a table here so that this formula would make sense. So, meron tayong dalawang values kasi dito, yung value ni x's at value ni y. So, gagawa tayo ng table for x, for y, for x squared, for y squared, at para kay xy. So, I guess it's better if I will present you an example for that. A researcher would like to determine if there's a correlation between a person's IQ and EQ. The results of 10 students are shown below. Compute for the correlation and interpret. So, meron tayong data for how many people to? 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hindi siya 10. It's actually 9 lang pala to. So, ayusin na natin. Yan. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So, we will compute for the correlation and interpret the data. So, we will first construct the x squared, y squared, and xy columns to the table. So, this IQ here will serve as our x variable and EQ is our y variable. So, yan, lagay natin yung x natin and yung y dito. Now, gagawa tayo ng column for x squared, y squared, and xy. So, ito ay x. Bakit tayo gagawa ng x squared, y squared, tsaka xy? Kasi may summation of x squared tayo dito, may summation of y squared tayo dito, and summation of xy dito. So, we need to determine the summation of those columns. So to determine the summation of those columns, we need to have those columns first. So x, y. So x squared, kunin mo yung values ni x's, take the square, you'll have these. Values ni y, take the square, you'll have these. And xy, multiply x and y, you'll get these. Okay, so I'll leave it up to you to practice how we're going to compute. Anyway, you have your calculator with you. Basta tandaan nyo, para makuha yung x squared, kunin mo yung value ni x, yung 115, square mo, the result is 13,225. 94 squared, 8836, and so on. Okay, y, para makuha si y squared, square mo lang yung value sa to. 91 squared, 8281. 116 squared, 13,456. And para makuha si xy, multiply lang yung magkatapat na x and y values. 115 times 91, 10,465, and so on. So that's our first step. Construct the x squared, y squared, and xy table. Second step natin is to solve for the sum of each column. So, add natin yung column na to. Add natin yung lahat ng values na to. If we add them, we get 907. If we add all the values of y, we get 965. Make sure to label properly so that we would know para saan sila. Summation of x, 907. Summation of y, 965. X squared, add natin lahat. Summation of x squared, 93,235. Y squared, add natin lahat. So summation of y squared is 105,907. And summation of xy, it's 95,161. Very easy na magkamali ito. Either magkamali ka ng type sa calculator mo or magkamali ka ng sulat. So, I suggest you be careful in computing on this part kasi dito madalas magkamali. Kasi pag nagkamali ka na dito, magkakamali ka rin ng sum. Pag nagkamali ka ng sum, mali na yung sagot, no? So, be careful and huwag kayong magmamadali in answering this. You have to be careful and double check your answers so that you would be computing them correctly, you're pressing the correct buttons, and you're writing them correctly. Kasi minsan nangyayari yun na tama naman pagka-compute mo, nagkakamali ka na ng sulat. So for our next step, we will solve for the Pearson R, the Pearson product moment correlation coefficient using this formula. N is 9, kasi 9 lang yung values na to. Summation of xy, this one. Summation of x, this one. Summation of y, this one, 965. Summation of x squared, this one, 93,235. And summation of y squared, 105,907. So let's substitute these values onto the formula. We'll have this. N is 9. Summation of xy is 95161. Summation of x, 907. Summation of y, 965. Multiply ito N is 9. Summation of x squared, 93,235. The square of the summation of x is 907 squared. N, 9. Summation of y squared, 105,907. The square of the summation of y, that's 965 squared. So let's compute using our calculator. If kaya ng isang bagsakan sa calcul nyo, then good. Pero kung hindi, you have to compute for it one by one. Okay? Usually, hindi kaya kasi masyadong maraming values. So, iisa-isahin nyo na lang. Okay? So, computing for that, you'll end up with negative 0.98. So, what is the interpretation of this negative 0.98? Balik tayo sa taas. Nasaan nakalagay si negative 0.98? It's right here in this interval. So, this suggests that there is a very high correlation kasi 0.98 siya. Iyon yung ibig sabihin nun sa scale. Also, the sign is negative. So, there is a very high negative correlation. So, this means that there's a very high negative correlation between the person's IQ and EQ. So, pag tumaas daw si IQ, it suggests na yung EQ daw ay medyo mababa. And pag medyo mababa yung IQ, medyo mataas ang EQ. So that's the observation that we can make on our given values. Okay, so alam natin kagad kapag sinulat mo yung R, malalaman mo kagad yung strength and direction eh. Strength is determined by the number and the direction is determined by its sign. So very high negative correlation. I've placed here other examples too so that you can practice the skill. Ako, I would suggest na you try answering them. Anyway, malalaman nyo naman yung answer and yung solution kasi nakalagay dito. Okay, so practice the skill. You also try answering the questions on your book. Marami naman mga resources dun. Try to answer. Okay? So the person-product moment correlation describes the strength and direction of the relationship between two variables. It's also called the person R. Now, what we just dealt is determining how strong is the relationship. So, it doesn't necessarily mean ba na pag strong ang relationship, significant na sila. Anong ibig sabihin natin by significant relationship? Ibig sabihin ng significant relationship is pwede nating masabi na yung observation na yun is importante. Na kapag mababa yung isa, mataas yung kabila, ibig sabihin ba nun, does it happen all the time or does it happen by chance? So, kung significant yun, and it's worth looking at. Ibig sabihin, pwede na, it happens na merong nangyayaring factor na gano'n, it just doesn't happen by chance. So that will be our next lesson. We will test the significance of the correlation coefficient R. So I hope you guys learned a lot today. Thank you guys for watching.